It is. Okay, I'm recording.
Also.
All right.
Good day, Galaxy.
Okay, kids. Let's go.
Let's go.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Hello, what have we here?
You guys are so funny.
Hello.
Holy shit. It ain't C3 penis face and R2 dickhead.
Hello there.
Looking? Found someone you have, I would say.
May the force be with us. Fucking A.
Good day, Galaxy. Rogue Squadron Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Solo episode. Not by myself.
About Solo.
About Solo.
Ooh.
I am Opar.
I am Commander Cody.
We've got one of our delicious, dedicated, and belligerent patrons on, Mr. Jacob Weiss.
Hello.
If you guys are fans of the show, we've mentioned Mr. Weiss many a times, referring to either terrifying memes that he makes about me,
Or Kerner.
or correcting everything we say.
He is an encyclopedia of fandom.
It's very true.
And still wrong half the time.
But
You'll make an argument for like 2 days straight about something, and then 2 days after that, you'll be like, guys, by the way,
I got to prove myself wrong real quick.
everything that I said was not true.
Amazing. Everything you said in that sentence. Do you, so we know you as, on the Xbox as Lil Drangus. Do you have another alias?
No. It used to be, like back in like the 360 days, it was Finn the Human.
Ben the Human.
Yeah. But it was like, I was like 16, so it was like F1NN.
Of course.
Like that type of spelling, like THA.
Edgy.
Like for the, yeah.
Of course.
I,
FN2187.
one of these days, Commander and I will write down some of the original Xbox names that we had on Halo. It was we can't
Unforgivable.
say it here. It was unforgivable. We
We'll
talk
get banned
about
from YouTube if
politically
we talk
correct.
about it, yeah.
Holy crap! It was not. That's just to give you an inkling. One was, "Hey, would you blow me?"
All one word.
All one word.
That's what teenagers do when they hang out.
I remember playing like LAN or like split screen on Halo. It would always say like so and so killed you or so and so fragged you. So
Right.
we would always do like your mom, like stuff like that. So it'd say like, oh, your mom killed you.
Yep.
We
That's
would always
exactly why we
try
did
to
it.
play around with those.
Yep. Ass monkey fu. I mean, we had a lot. We had a lot.
Oh, man.
Once again, thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
We're gonna be getting into a beer review here real quick,
We are. Maybe a couple. I think Weiss, I saw you got a few. I'm just
Yeah, I
going to
have a
call you
couple.
Weiss.
and I will make the official announcement. This is gonna be a spoiler episode. If you're
Definitely.
Yeah, we've all
already-
seen Solo. So,
ready and willing
mhm.
to discuss.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie yet, pause. You don't want to ruin anything for you. Just like Last Jedi ruined the franchise for you. You don't want us to ruin it by spoiling the movie.
And it's only been out 2 full days.
Yeah.
Because it came out Thursday night for the technical midnight stuff. But
The technical midnight release at 7 p.m. Eastern.
yep, guaranteed. So let's crack into these. I'm excited because I actually have 2 of them.
I do
mine
too,
here.
kind of. I was just warming up. I was having a few of these that were left over in the fridge while gaming earlier. So I've been having a few of these, and then I got some from across the street to review. What you got?
Mine,
what you got there,
mine
Weiss?
says Glorious Galaxy Pale Ale. It's kind of a tall boy 16 ouncer. Kind of a cool can. But I had one of these last night.
Nice.
But it was mixed with a bunch of other shit. So I'm gonna get a true review tasting on this.
Perfect. Weiss, what do you have?
I have the IPL, the India Pale Lager, but it has this like Public Image Limited kind of logo, like the band, but they switched up the order of the letters. It says music in liquid form. It's acoustic ales from San Diego.
Why can't it be
Nice.
liquid in music form?
I know that would be fun.
That would be fun.
I also just want to take a second to applaud Jacob's background because whenever he's on the Patreon call, that's all I can focus on is it looks like he's in a massage parlor. And you probably heard us like mentioning that before on the show, but it's just the best backdrop ever. Nice laundry basket too. I have the same one.
You're either at a massage parlor or like a porn scene. And it could be both. Really.
I was going to say, why not both?
Yeah.
Let me crack mine open too.
Commander, what do you have?
Sorry.
Yeah, let me. I'm gonna crack mine open and pour it here.
I'm gonna try to pour mine, bro.
I got all distractified. So this place just opened up right across the street. It's called Brewdog. It's from Scotland. They opened up a giant brewery here out in the suburbs a few years ago, and then they just opened up a few tap rooms around the city, and it's right across the street by Land Grant. So,
this pour is really nice.
We got some floaty roasties in this bitch.
Is that one of those, what's in it? I've been seeing that with all those like orange wheat ones lately.
This one just says it's a Galaxy Pale Ale. It doesn't have a sonnet on there.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It does have like legit floaties in it. Like more than just a sediment. It looks like someone ground up parsley and put it in this thing. Very light in color, but I'm excited. It smells very good.
Sweetness. So this is I mentioned Brewdog. This is the Hazy Jane, it's called. It's, the big trend right now is hazy pale ales and hazy IPAs. Very juicy, very fruity, very light. Sorry. It foamed up. Took a minute to pour.
Off the rails
Boom.
already.
It looks like motherfucking pineapple orange juice.
Kind of looks like this. Yeah, very same color.
Oh, yeah.
Very same color.
Very
We're
same
getting
color.
educated here.
Very same color. All right.
So,
well,
sniff tested, everybody. Are we just diving right into it?
I drank mine.
Yeah, let's dive right in. Not even the drinking bell. We've missed the drinking bell so many episodes. It's sad
now
my soul.
that this is confirmed to be Jacob Weiss's last guest appearance on the podcast.
First and last.
We had to wait for the drink bell.
Oh, let's hear it.
You missed it.
He doesn't even have it by him.
I've got what's the thing from Baby Driver? So I just kind of always hear that. It's always just telling me to drink.
Oh, like you have that fucking thing where there's just a ringing in your ear forever.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
I see.
What are you thinking on yours, Jacob?
I like it. It's a little peppery.
Yeah, this
Peppery for a lager. That's interesting.
I mean, I don't know what the India Pale Lager does, like how they kind of blend those. I mean, they got me with the bottle. It was cool design.
So
I could probably Google a description for what an IPL
Don't
tastes
do it
like.
because it'll defer your thoughts and your initial inklings on it. You'll start reading into comments. This beer sucks.
I was gonna say,
it ruined all liquids that I've ever drank before in my childhood.
Just like Star Wars, it's a perfect crossover.
Just like Solo.
There's another beer that this Acoustic Ales makes though, called the Danger Zone, which is a triple IPA. That one I've had is really good. Okay. It's like a grapefruit pineapple.
That is dangerous.
See, that can go very, very good or very bad.
True.
I mean, it's like it smells like grapefruit and pineapple, but it's kind of more like earthy.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think maybe that's what these floaties are. It's very earthy, peppery finish to this. Not as bitter. Very drinkable. I'm very happy with this.
Nice.
I will say, get in the description here, 6.5%, and it is Lord Hobo Brewing Company. It's out of Massachusetts, which is very weird. I didn't know Massachusetts did anything outside of tea.
This is stronger than I thought. It's 7.2. Didn't know that. It's in some high territory there. No, it's so yeah. If you ever see a New England IPA, or a hazy pale ale or a hazy IPA, that's kind of what this is. And that was what our Orlando system was for the May 4th event and for the solo event, which I should get a growler of and then bring on the show and review that because obviously it wasn't canned or anything. But maybe I'll try to find a growler of that before next episode.
Man, this stuff is blowing my mind. It's got the sediments in it are like staying like floated up. Like it's not settling. What's the name for that? There's something like it's not mixing, but it's also not settling. There's a word for that.
Rising.
It's rising.
I don't know.
No, it kind of looks like a solid. It looks like a jelly. It honestly does. That's why, because none of the stuff's moving.
Is it really cold?
No, it's not. It's blowing my mind.
Blowing your buds. No, this is good, man. It's these New England styles can. There's a fine line between a juicy profile on a beer and it just tasting like carbonated pineapple juice that you're drinking. This one's a little too fruity, but I still like it. It's not. I think there was one I had last week or the week before that was like kind of hard to stomach because it was too much like juice. Or no, it was I had one with Tommy Boy, something from Platform the other day, and it literally was just like juice. But this one is pretty good, stronger than I thought. But yeah, Brewdog right across the street.
Let's dive into it. I am going to give this a very, very solid 2. I think the drinkability of it is it's so drinkable. I was going to say it's so high, but that doesn't. Is that a high drinkability? I guess that makes sense. I'm talking my way through this. I'm always on the fence with the sediments and the floaties. Like I always think, oh, that's adding to it, and I'm happy with that. But the fact that it's just sitting there, it's kind of disconcerting. Like it's a bad beer. It was canned last month, so it's got to be good.
It's fresh.
Fresh. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a completely solid 2. It's not blowing me.
It's unfortunate whenever that happens.
It's unfortunate.
That's the goal for every beer.
But that's the goal. What are you thinking, Mr. Weiss?
I'm going to go with a 3. I've had this once before, and I've been wanting to have it again, but it's pretty hard for me to find. It's not even on their website, so I don't know if it was like a limited time run.
Now, are you just giving it a 3 because you haven't had a beer in a while? You're like, this
I
stuff's
had a beer
delicious.
last night. Yeah.
Or because you're first time on the show and you're trying to impress us.
No, I like liking things.
Oh, this is not the show for you.
It's really fun.
This actually is the show for you, unless it's Mopar talking about Marvel. Everything else we're pretty positive about.
See, I get a bad rap for that because I was praising Infinity War. I just didn't want to rate it because I've only seen it once. Everybody's like, "What a hater! This guy's a jackass!" And while I might be a jackass,
in 5,000 words why it's not a 3-star movie.
I'll put that into writing here in a minute.
No, I'm just giving you shit.
No, this is super drinkable. I like that it's kind of peppery. I don't know if I would drink like a 6-pack of it, but
drinkability is key, man.
Yeah,
I really like. It can be a great tasting beer, but if I don't want to have like more than one, there's something wrong. Like it should be drinkable, and you should be yearning for more.
100%. Yeah, this is way better on draft. I will say that for sure. And I hate like if it's a good beer, it should taste good in the can. Like I don't want to have to get it on draft just to enjoy it. But I've had it across the street, and I remember it being a way better on draft. So I don't know. It's just a 2, I guess.
That's a fine line. Sometimes the beers taste better in cans, and then you go have it on draft, and you're like, "Why does this taste weird?" A lot of times it's the opposite. You know, you have it in a can, and you're like, that wasn't that good, and then you go out and order one just to fuck around, and you're like, this sucks.
Or they have a fucked up draft system, or you never know.
Right, or it was brewed a year and a half ago, and they forgot about it. It's been sitting there.
That's why it's on a happy hour special.
Ram's piss, half off.
Ram's piss. I don't know. I'm like on the border of 1 and 2, unfortunately. I think I'm going to sit with the 2 because every other time I've had this, I have enjoyed it. And it is drinkable enough. So we'll say that.
What you said it is an IPA.
It's a New England style IPA. So it's the hazy, juicy. You can't
New
see
England
through it.
Style.
That's
Slightly
what it's called.
Racist.
Slightly racist, imperialistic.
Some chowder in there.
Fucking colonists. It's colonist beer. No, it's good. It's good.
Good.
But it's just, average. So 2.
Now, I do have a side beer that I got while I was in West Virginia. It's called the Mothman.
Nice.
It's a black IPA. So I might be cracking this open here in a little bit, and we're going to roll the dice here.
Yeah.
So what's you've been in and out of Gaming Commander.
I'm back in full
Mr.
force.
The PUBG general over here has been yelling at us. What are you guys doing?
I'm back in, man, full force.
Yeah, I messed around a little bit too much, I think, for Cody. I crashed our van into a ravine the other day, trying to run up on these dudes outside of a house, and he was not very happy. But besides that,
we were fully stocked on equipment, and then he's driving down the road, and there's a house over here, and we're driving on a ridge, and there's like a 10-foot gap between the ridge and the house, and the guys are there, and he just tanks the van into that fucking crevice, and we're stuck, and we just get blown up. So random.
Roll the dice. It was like our first time playing that map too, the new one.
Very true.
It's a fun game, but sometimes it gets slow, so I just like to rush it.
That makes sense.
Commander Cody's very cautious.
I am, yeah. Well, I like to get my bearings so I understand the game, and then by the time I'm playing Battlefield 4 for the 1000th match, we can just run in and be reckless.
Yeah.
But I like to figure out how the game works first.
I swear
Especially
that game
that
helped
one.
me so much with Battlefield.
Yeah. I'm noticing
Just like the gunfights, like getting up close and not freaking out, spraying for the place.
Yeah. We got
Now, is there multiple maps on PUBG?
Just two now. Two.
Two.
I think PC has 3 and maybe one more coming, but for console it's just 2. They just launched Miramar.
Nice. As we were talking before we started recording, I'm back on Halo. I have been hitting up the Battlefront again. It's fun. It's just a fun game. That's all. We've already talked about it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was playing with Lord Kerner earlier, and I don't know where we were. Crate. And it was a really good battle. I mean, shit was blowing up. I mean, it was dying left and right. And of course, Lord Kerner says, "Holy shit, it's like a war zone out here."
I've said it before and I'll say it again. That kid is a fucking cartoon character. I don't understand. That's the only way to describe it, honestly.
Oh, it's Star Wars. Yeah. Oh my god.
This war is like a war.
That's exactly what he. I couldn't stop laughing. He's like, "What it is?" I'm like, "That's exactly what it is." Oh my god.
That's good. That game usually doesn't feel like that. So that's good, actually.
I am still so upset at that game in so many ways. I was kicked twice today for no reason. Where I joined up, partied up with him, went into a game, kicked. He got in. What the fuck? 2, I haven't seen like half the maps for a fucking year. I haven't played Kashyyyk. I haven't played as the clones. I haven't seen Naboo. I haven't seen any of the shit.
Yeah.
It's always First Order on Takodana, Hoth, or
Not Hoth,
Crate.
Starkiller Base, and Crate, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun, but it's very, very frustrating. Everybody knows.
I hope we get some maps for Solo. Something new. Wow. Like, it's Solo season, so now that the movie's out, spoilers are over. Like, can we get some maps from the...
Corellia.
Yeah.
Mimbon, too. The place where he's fighting.
Yep, that'd be sweet.
Especially because that's like an OG Star Wars planet.
Yeah,
like,
that
goes way back.
See, you must have researched that because I noticed during the movie they weren't labeling anything, and I was so happy with that.
So was I. I think that's one thing that bugged me about Rogue One. It's like, you don't have to label every single location. Like, let us just kind of
feel like a movie rather than like let's just experience this as we go through. I don't need to know every fucking thing. It's like it's getting to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if they started labeling the species on the fucking characters as they talk. Like, you're taking your it's this isn't a fucking science project.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking watch the movie and get pissed off about it because Star Wars is going to shit.
They pause it like Suicide Squad and like read the Wikipedia article about that race. Yeah.
I liked it in Rogue One because it reminded me of like when you watch like spy movies and it does like the little type thing, like telling you where they're like that whole. But it definitely would not have worked for Solo.
And with now that we've gotten 2 side stories, they are very different.
Mm-hmm.
They are very different, and I like both of them for what they are. We'll dive into Solo here. We're all done with the beers. I told my ridiculous Kerner story.
Any other ridiculous Kerner stories while we're talking? We can talk more about gaming because I was on a dry spell for a while.
Yeah, BF1, we're back.
I'm not back on that. I don't like it.
It's because you played for 5 minutes
I still don't
and you
like
didn't
it.
like your sniper.
I still
you
don't
gotta
like
use
it.
iron sights.
I still don't like it.
World
It's not going to
War
work.
One, man. Gotta use iron sights.
PUBG from day one even though it was fucking hard and frustrating and very like there's no instructions, you have to figure your own way. I knew right from the jump that I was gonna love it. Battlefield 1 just isn't doing it. It's not. It's in the scritch.
I love Battlefield 1. I don't play it enough because it is a difficult game. And when I want to go play a war game that's realistic, I obviously default to Battlefield 4. But I love the fact that Battlefield 1 is difficult because in World War I, war was difficult. The guns barely fucking shoot. Everything, you're driving a tank that is like 3 wheels. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And that's how the war was, though. So, like, I'm completely, especially the maps. The maps are my favorite thing about Battlefield 1.
You like have to use the trenches. If you don't use like the natural stuff in the trenches, you're screwed.
Absolutely. And it's cool because they and that's a big difference between COD and Battlefield, where there will be buildings in COD, but not all of them you can go into. Mm-hmm. They have rooms and toilets and I mean you could do whatever the fuck you want in Battlefield, and you can use it to your advantage or you can get fucked by it.
Yeah.
So you got to be smart about it.
We played some hectic maps, and I think maybe that's why Commander wasn't too happy. But the ones that we played were like madness maps, where like everyone's just flooding the center. There's like artillery trucks driving around.
Jesus, that sounds like a war zone.
Yeah, the bigger open maps are a lot of fun for like playing scout.
Oh, I hate the open maps because I get fucked. I'm not a good sniper, so I'm the one that rambles into a building, kills everything, and then comes out and blows himself up accidentally throwing a grenade.
I've been getting used to the sniper. Now, I will say I don't hate it the way I did when it first came out. I'm warming up to it a little bit, but it's just not like I don't have the desire to go back and play it right now. Like I'm not waiting and itching to play it. If everyone's on, I'll join in, but like I can't wait to get back on PUBG.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1 is so great because it's an infantry war. It's 100% an infantry war. You can't win the game if you're going to do all vehicles. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So you have to go in, clear the buildings out, do it step by step. There's no shortcuts in Battlefield 1.
That squad today was fun.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tommy Boy was running around healing, Butterclone was doing his thing, Cody was scout, and then I was just flying in a plane above trying to take out all the tanks and armored vehicles that were like trying to flood.
Yeah.
But you can see the progression of your battle, which is so cool, especially when you go into the respawn map thing. You can see where everything is going on, dude. And when it zooms in when you spawn.
Yeah. There's a lot of changes like that about the game that I do love, like how the squads are laid out, that whole menu thing when you're getting ready to spawn and change your equipment and all that. It's really fucking awesome.
And I go back to it, the maps. The maps are fucking key.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's cool because the maps, how am I supposed to say this? The maps in like Battlefield 4 are like existing buildings and everything. You go into Battlefield 1 and half the city is already blown up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing in a half-wrecked city. But that's what the fuck war is, especially in World War I. So it's so realistic. I love it. 3 out of 4.
Yeah, it's almost like a Battlefield. We should say hey to our buddies that are in the chat room right now. Pat Hastings, actually, who just jumped on our Patreon recently.
Welcome.
And Shinobi, a.k.a. what's his name? Star Wars?
Lore Master.
Lore Master, yeah. And then Bad B.O. Solid. 3 out of 3 for username.
Bad B.O.
Solid. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bad B.O. Bad B.O. in particular says they're boycotting the new Battlefront games. Corporate shit.
I mean, I didn't buy it either.
That's true.
But I did play it for 10 hours for free on EAX. Or not free, but on
Battlefield or Battlefront? I'm sorry.
Battlefront.
Yeah, the Star Wars ones.
I mean, I put 10 hours in and it just wasn't worth it.
It got a lot better while I just got done bitching about it. It is a fun game. And I'm done saying that. Now, we did have, obviously, the release of Battlefield 5. And that...
The premiere, not the release.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. But now that's coming out in what, October?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, excited. Now, obviously, we're all like, fuck, it's World War II again. Like, you could. I think that's probably 99% of everybody's favorite war time. World War II is obviously glorified more than probably most other wars. But man, wouldn't it have been fucking cool if it was like Korea or Vietnam or like a made up fiction war, like a alternative history fiction war? Dude, it could have been
alternate
anything.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That would be fucking cool.
I'm half hyped. I'm half hyped about World War II just because I didn't love BF1 as much as I thought I would. So I'm half hyped because that. We did used to really love World at War. So I'm not like averse to the World War II era. And from what they were talking about on the premiere and everything, there's a lot of changes coming to the game that are making it as squad based as humanly possible. Which for us, I mean, that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason that we started loving Battlefield in the first place. So if they just keep doubling down on squads, it's going to be fucking sweet.
It's going to come down to gameplay. I mean, anyone can go into any game and figure out like how to shoot with futuristic game guns like Halo and figure out how to shoot with like PUBG guns. But I mean, the weapons aren't going to be as old as the Battlefield one.
Right.
Which will be fun. So it'll be like a nice middle place where you're not going to get overpowered by someone running around with the M4 and there's not going to be helicopters just hovering, killing like 10 people at a time, which turns me off of Battlefield 4. Like sometimes I'm just getting
on.
Sometimes I agree.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you just can't even fucking get out of your spawn zone without seeing the tank.
So it should be a fun infantry game like BF1, but I mean, it looks like the gameplay is going to be fun and it looks like a lot of kinks are worked out. I hope they just have that free look like PUBG has where you can look around while you're running.
That smallest thing. So Mopar, you don't know what we're talking about, but while you're running, if you hold the bumper and then start looking, your guy keeps running the same direction, but you can turn your camera basically 360.
But not like just straight behind you. Like some games do it where it's like with a driving one where you just look straight back, but you can it's a really, that would help so much.
Yeah. That small thing makes such a big difference. Pat over here is pissed about World War II, by the way.
Welcome, Pat.
He's not having it. I'm excited.
That's all I've been jumping on. I've been going back to Halo, unfortunately. I have been kind of trudging through Republic Commando slowly and bitterly. It's a great game for the time, but it didn't hold up that well because it's very limited in what you can do. But back in the day, like the fact that I can tell someone to go to a sniper point, you're like, what?
Yeah, it was like a Tom Clancy game in Star Wars back then. It was sweet.
Yeah. But now you literally, that's all you can do is kind of, hey, open that door.
Right. Yeah. The Dark Souls remaster came out, so that is fully redone. Not fully redone, but it's enhanced, better graphics, better lighting. It's in 1080 and it's in 60 frames per second. Yeah, for the first one. Which anybody that loves Dark Souls 1 knows that the frame rate was pretty shitty, which made it harder than it should have been, even though it's already a hard game. But the remaster's out. It's fucking sweet. I've been blazing through that with Tommy Boy. And Butterclone finally got on the Dark Souls train. Super excited about that. What are you peering into your glass for?
Look at the sediment. That's not part of the glass. That's floaties.
Looks like you poured salt in there.
It is. I forgot I did that. Damn it.
Why would you do such a thing?
No more messing around. Enough of the gruff. We're gonna get into solo here.
Oh my god.
Spoilers ahead if you guys. This is the final last warning.
Really should only have warned you twice, and once, and if you fuck up, then that's your own fault.
Yeah, don't come back. Solo was fucking fun.
Solo was so fun.
Awesome. It was so fun, and it's cool that they can finally kind of let go, and it doesn't have to be this serious thing with force powers, and you don't have to make. I don't know how else to explain it. I was gonna say you don't have to make a serious movie, but it was a cool, serious. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It was fun. Was fun.
Yeah. The initial thing that I wrote after we walked out of the theater, I said it was fun, surprising, engaging, packed full of references and action, and it felt really good, for me at least, to come out of the movie and not have to think, oh man, where's this gonna rank? Oh man, how did this compare to Force Awakens? Oh man, what are they gonna do next? Like, it was nice to just enjoy the movie, get the references, and come out of it, and not have to fucking theorize and analyze and compare it to everything else. And like,
well, there was a beginning and an end
and a middle,
unlike any other Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because everything else has to lead into something. Rogue One, that leads right into 4. Of course it fucking does. 10 seconds before. Yeah. Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that also.
That's true.
Solo, it stands alone so well, and it stands alone better than any other Star Wars movie. By far, easily, because obviously the only other standalone that you can look at is Rogue One. But that fed right into the sagas, the episodes.
I'd argue that
episode 4 stands alone?
episode 1, 4, and 7 stand alone pretty well.
Yeah, but episode 1 has such like an ending where it's like, what's next? Like I get what you're saying. Like I feel like Solo is interesting because it does stand alone so well, but it also does lean on a lot of like lore, but without making you feel like you need to know all of it. Like I could see someone that's never seen a Star Wars movie going in, or even if that was just the only Star Wars movie, like it would still make sense.
Right.
Like
and all the references were comics and books and stuff. Yeah.
Right. But none of them were like over the, like hitting you on your head or like wink, wink. You need to know what this reference is. Everything
it wasn't holding the plot together. You could understand it in a general sense and not be a Star Wars fan because it had a beginning, middle, of an end. It had protagonists, and it was very clear. You didn't even. And it pretty
much picked up on most of the main characters at the beginning of a journey. So like, we got enough about Beckett's backstory. Like, I don't really care too much about Beckett's backstory. Like, it'd be fun, like maybe a comic or something. But like, it's not crucial to the story. But like, we pick up Han when we need to. We pick up on Kiara when we need to. We pick up on Chewie when we need to. So I think it does it just starts that journey right there.
It also doesn't go too in depth with all the characters. I don't need to know, just playing off what you just said, I don't need to know everything about everyone. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that how he met Chewie and then they just moved on and they don't have to describe where is he from, how old, I guess they did kind of in conversation, like how old are you, but it was all in like a joking manner. I'm just happy with it, man. I'm just really happy with it. Especially with being kind of up and down, excited about the film beforehand. I thought it was great.
Yeah, delivered. That's for sure. What do you think about? Do you have a trajectory you want to peruse right now?
I was gonna go through. I had a couple kind of key points in this.
Go for it.
So, one of the biggest changes and or spoiler-ish stuff is Solo isn't his real last name.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Fucking perfect. I love it. I fucking love it, and I'll tell you why. The dude is a piece of shit from a piece of shit planet who's got nobody. Why the fuck does he have a last name? We don't talk about his family. He mentioned his mom like in conversation with Lando, and that was it. And he said he didn't really get along with his dad, probably because he didn't fucking know him. Yeah. So when it made so much sense that when he went to go sign up, what's your name? Han. What's your last name? Who the fuck knows? What, you don't have any family? No. Oh, so you're going solo, Han Solo. Oh, well, like.
I always kind of thought Solo was a terrible last name anyway, so the fact that that's how he got it makes a lot more sense to me.
Kind of like
I like it. It gave me a little bit of that like Game of Thrones vibe, where like if people are like from Dorne, their like bastard name is Sand, or like if they're from the North, their bastard name is Snow. It was like kind of that like that person who doesn't deserve anything but is still like there.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people that weren't happy with that. I mean, I liked it. But the cool thing about it is if you do or don't like it, it doesn't change the plot or the guts of the story at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is so nice. Yeah.
I think what it does is it adds to the character of Han. It legitimizes him as, because he always played the bad boy or whatever you want to say, the smuggler, the scoundrel. But now it's just like it concretes him as that. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't have any family. He doesn't have anybody to fall back on. It's just him and his goddamn Wookiee.
And he seemed indifferent about it when the whole thing happened. He was just like, I don't got a last name. Like it was no big deal to him. It wasn't like this overly dramatic thing. It's like developing him as this type of guy who has to deal with what's there right now.
Yep. Which is what Han's always been.
Exactly. And it kind of touches in like how you could defend what happens to him in the sequel trilogy, or like the decisions he makes between OT and sequel. But he's just the type of dude who sees something in front of him. He has to solve that. And that's it. It's why he's ready to leave in A New Hope to go settle the bounty on his head.
One thing at a time.
Yeah.
True quarter miler.
Yeah.
What's in front of him?
This better be Kerner's favorite movie.
Yep.
Yeah. If there's one thing that's been driving me nuts about all the Disney era annoyances is one little Easter egg or one little like if you didn't like how Han got his last name, then the movie sucks because they ruin Han's backstory because some Imperial officer gave him the last name Solo. Like that's the kind of stuff that's been really, really driving me nuts lately.
But it's also playing off of, because Star Wars as a whole is a very family-oriented galaxy.
Yeah.
Like everybody's related, and that's been the big plot changes and everything. Twin sister, you have a you kissed her, you dumb bitch. And then you look at Han, and it's just like, no, there are characters in this story, in this galaxy, that are from nowhere. And I know we got a little touch of that with Rey. But yeah, I'm excited that it's almost like the galaxy's becoming more well-rounded. It's not all glitter and Jedi and Force powers.
I haven't seen glitter in
Star Wars. But
Wars.
It's also not all just war. Like,
True.
He just comes from a terrible background. It's crime-ridden, and he makes the best of it. And he has to look out for him, and that's it.
Yeah,
So,
It was fantastic that the Empire played a role, but it wasn't about the Empire. It was about Han, the people that he ended up with. Yeah. It was about the crime syndicate. It wasn't about rebels, Empire, resistance, government, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was refreshing. Go ahead.
One thing I did like about the name, like from like a meta point, like looking at it from like outside, is that pretty much everything that he becomes is in a reaction to the Empire. That like he's been defined by kind of like the role, like as once we get into the original trilogy, his character changes because of the Empire. Like, yes, to help the rebellion, but it's in response to the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also like the birth of that name. So he always has kind of like this attachment, and he spent 3 years fighting for them. So it really shows that like now he's kind of like he's had a choice. He could have stayed and fought, and he left. He could have joined the good fight, and he didn't. And he kept living that life for 10 years. And then when he gets the chance again, he comes back. So it's interesting to see that like the Empire really does have an effect on his life, whereas in the original trilogy, it felt sometimes like he had never even come across the Empire except for when he dropped his shipment. Right. So it was like cool to like show that like the Empire does affect him, and in a way, kind of is affecting everyone at that time of like unrest and transition in the galaxy, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that we said it, but it doesn't focus on the Empire. And that people can live their entire life in this galaxy and truly not be affected by it. Like the rest of Corellia, even though it's a shipyard, people can live generations and just be like, yeah, my dad builds ships. But outside of that, they don't know what the fucking great struggle of the Empire and the Jedi and all this shit. There's literally just people that are, I'm just fighting for, the blue collar motherfuckers,
Well, that's the trick of, the Empire, is that some people that don't know the true story just think that this is the new version of the Republic. You know what I mean? Like some people in certain classes on some worlds didn't notice a change at all when Palpatine killed all the Jedi with Order 66 and took over. Some people do, some people don't. So it's interesting to see their world kind of get shattered when they realize what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Very true. Now,
when
Han meets Chewie.
Yes.
That one was, I kind of saw it coming. Right when I saw there was like a pit, I'm like, I'm not going to put a goddamn Rancor down here. It's going to be a furry motherfucker.
Right.
And it's going to be hilarious. Very initial thought was like, why did they do that? While I liked it, I was like, I don't know. It sounds like I'm shitting on it, but just my absolute initial thought, I was like, what? Why?
Not what I expected for sure.
But
I'm very indifferent about that part.
Yeah, I don't think it added a lot, but because I don't know. I mean, why do you love it, Jake?
Because I mean, compared to what we see in like the prequels with the Wookiees, like you see them as kind of this, what we get like this view from George Lucas that like, oh wait, they're actually this really advanced and like they're like a respectable species, and they have their whole thing figured out, and they're willing to fight side by sides with the clones to like fight for the right thing. But then though, by the time that we know, like most of us know through lore that they're like enslaved and everything. So then we see kind of like how the Empire has this disdain for other species. Like there is no aliens in the Empire except for Thrawn. and that's not even on the big screen. So I thought it was cool to kind of see that they have like that brutality, and that even though Han is a part of the Empire at that point, he sees it as an opportunity to like team up with someone and escape. That same mentality of like, I have this situation now, I got to get out of it. Yeah. And it shows his arrogance that he was kind of fearless. Like he wasn't even scared for a second because he's just dumb. But I thought it was fun to like to finally see Chewie have an arc that like he had to remember that he wasn't an animal, because they were treating him like an animal and he'd been eating people accordingly. So I thought it was cool to see him get that little mini arc of like creating that
way
bond.
to paint a picture.
I can't imagine Chewbacca eating somebody.
I mean, he had to. He was eating humans, probably babies too. And he gets upset by eating a porg. Dude, you ate a fucking 35-year-old general 2 hours ago. What are you worried about a goddamn porg with big eyes looking at you? No, I completely agree. I think it's awesome that they it does add to Chewie's story, and it's cool that it's like middle of his life. Mm-hmm. Like think of all the 100 years before that when he was all fucking sing songs and Life Day on Kashyyyk, and everything goes to hell, and now he's in a mud pit. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, I think it just adds to Chewie, and it's badass.
Yeah, for sure.
And the you see a lot of loyalty, because Chewie was pretty much the most loyal character in all of Star Wars outside of K2, who died due to loyalty. And even outside of that, like even in the Legends books, Chewie dies saving Han's kid. Like that, how loyal can you get? So I think it's cool to see him in a very bad situation, and then him and Han work themselves out of it. I love it.
I think visually it was a fun flip to in Empire when you see when they're on Bespin. No, wait. Is that in Return? Okay, in Return in the beginning when Han gets taken out of Carbonite and he's in the holding cell, and they throw Chewie in there after Jabba takes Chewie.
Oh.
And Han's like still blind, and he's like, Chewie, is that you? And Chewie's just like holding on to him and like won't let go. It's kind of fun to see, like in that we see that they already have that loyalty, and like that going back and watching that after The Force Awakens was like crazy, because I never picked up on that before. But Chewie is like beyond ecstatic to see Han still alive, and like runs up and like that's not a life debt. That's like for real.
Yeah,
it's like a puppy.
Yeah, Han is Chewie's
he came home late one night and he was like, I never think you're coming back. What the fuck? I had to eat my own shit. I'm over here.
A puppy that has been slaughtering and eating humans.
Yes, exactly. Now, I will say, not that I'm mad at it, but it was kind of cringy when Han started speaking Wookiee.
Yes.
I was like, I mean, not that it doesn't make sense, because I'm okay with it. But he's never done that. We've been through a full fucking saga, and they speak English and Wookiee back to each other.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that? And maybe it was just to win him over.
Yeah, it was to show him that like he didn't think he was just some animal.
Fuck your logic. It was cringeworthy, and I don't think it really added anything.
The reason,
go ahead.
I would say the reason I don't like it is because I think when I looked this up originally back when I was a kid, is that Han can understand Chewie, but there's no way that anybody besides an actual Wookiee can reproduce those sounds. So that's what I always thought too, is like maybe he understands it, but there's no way he could speak it because his body can't make those fucking sounds. So when he started doing that in the pit, I was just like,
well, to be fair, Revan does it with Zalbar.
Yeah. And if Obi-Wan
doesn't
can
actually
do
say anything.
Great thing.
Yeah, you don't actually hear Revan do it, but you do. Because Zalbar actually says, do you know the language of my species or whatever?
Yeah.
I just took that as Zalbar said something and Revan responded to it, and then Zalbar's like, oh shit, you know what I'm talking about?
Because I know like with Ithorians, like no one can do that except Ithorians, because they have like 2 throats or whatever. But
four throats.
4?
Yeah, they do.
4 throats.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts in the Clone Wars.
Maybe I don't know. The first time around, it made me laugh. I thought it was one of those just like silly, goofy things that I was totally into the movie by that moment. So yeah, I was just laughing.
Yeah, even Patrick here in the chat says your logic is sound, but I agree with Mopar. Fuck that shit. Cringeworthy. I hate it. Get it out of there.
I'm cool with one. I'm cool with one. If we can get only one cringe moment, I'm fine if that's the one.
No, very true. Outside of the fucking bedazzled worm that runs Corellia.
I knew there was going to be an awkward space tentacle worm something.
And again,
there were two of them.
Not the fact that it doesn't make sense, but what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it can't see light? Oh my god, what kind of Tremors weird
It's
it is like Tremors.
It's one of the characters from the Hollow Chess game.
Oh, for real?
Is it really?
Yeah, they're all based on real species.
The Rook.
Oh, that makes sense. To Jarek. Speaking of, I saw somebody with a Star Wars t-shirt, and it was like a Chewbacca galaxy-wide Dejarik champion like fucking t-shirt. It was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
He makes the same mistake twice.
Here, oh, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed or aren't watching this on YouTube, Mopar's wearing his Rogue Squadron podcast shirt. I will say T Public was having a sale.
Yeah.
I bought it when it was like 25% off. This week, I think for Memorial Day weekend, so it'd be too late by the time you guys listen to this, but it was up to 30% off.
Unless you're listening right now.
Unless you're listening live, Patrick Hastings. Mopar, two throats, very drunk. But yeah, so, and if I will let you guys know, not all of the shirts are the same. Please get the tri-blend.
Yeah, get the nice
pay
ones.
Extra money for the tri-blend. There's even a premium one, which I'm pretty sure isn't soft. It's just like a nice, thick shit. I would highly recommend doing the tri-blend. They all do run slightly small, but if you get the tri-blend, they stretch out easily a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I'm not wearing mine, because I got it. It was a little too tight, so I washed it, hung it up, let it air dry, cold and everything. So
if you guys are interested or have been waiting for a discount, this weekend might be the weekend, or just constantly go over maybe once a week, because it goes in and out of the discounts. Yes. To get back onto Solo, so we've got Han with his fake ass last name. We've got him trying to bang Khaleesi like the rest of everybody.
Not trying to.
Describe. Was there a scene I missed?
No, well, of course we didn't see it on screen, but I'm pretty sure they were romantically involved.
Banging in the capes?
Actually, not pretty sure. I'm 100%.
The cape room.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. The fact that there's a cape room on the Falcon is fucking hilarious.
Sweet. Oh my god, it was awesome.
So
were you about to get the Lando?
Yeah, let's get the Lando
system.
I was happy with him, but I wasn't overly happy with, because I thought he played Lando well. I thought he sounded like Lando, but I really don't think it added anything to Lando. I don't care any more or any less about Lando. Okay, but it was, what am I trying to say? It was almost similar to Han Solo, where he is kind of just a bullshitter. And, you know, he talks about all the stories or you've heard are true, and then his shit's impounded, and he's a piece of shit too, just like everybody else. What are you guys' thoughts on Lando? Stop laughing about Lando.
Sorry, man. First time, I think you hear his voice before you actually see him on screen. And as it was going into that Sabat game, and I heard him talking, I was like, dude, that sounds like Billy D. Williams. Like, that sounds like Lando from 1980 right there.
I like how he floated kind of in and out of like that Billy D character. It was kind of like, I saw it as he's got these like dreams of who he wants to be, and he's not quite there yet. And like by the time we see him in Empire, he's like that character.
Right.
He's like the guy he wants to be then. So he has the whole play that he does about being like the suave guy, but he still is kind of like struggling a little bit in like when we meet him. He seems kind of like bored. I feel like when we meet him, he's just hanging out playing cards.
Yeah.
Ships locked up. I thought Donald Glover was cool with it. I don't know. It wasn't like, it wasn't anything over the top for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people talked about, and I was expecting from the hype that it was going to be like a mind-blowing experience seeing a young Lando, just because of how perfect he was for the role. It was great, fit the part. I didn't think it was anything over the top. It sat in right where it should. I love that Lando and Han are never really friends. And when you see them in Empire, you get that vibe a little bit, and then people are wondering why Lando betrayed Han in the first place. It's like, well, they're not friends. He's just doing what is most opportunistic at that time. So his entire arc throughout this whole movie landed to that 100%, which I thought was fucking sweet. And him cheating at the Sabacc game was a great addition. It's totally Lando.
I feel like the reason they weren't friends is because they are each other.
Yeah.
They're trying to make what's best in front of them.
Yeah.
You know, quarter mile it. And that's why when you bump into someone exactly like you, it almost doesn't work a lot of times. You know, you're trying to do the same thing. You're like, hey, fuck you. I'm trying to do that better than you. And whatever, you know.
I want your shit.
Yeah, it was two scoundrels knocking heads, and they're trying to do the same thing over the long run, which is basically ban Khaleesi and fly the Falcon around.
I feel like they've got like a couple opposite characteristics too, which like say a lot about them. Like Lando wants to be this big shot, wants to like, I mean, he ends up running Cloud City and like doing that whole thing, but he's also a cheater. Like we know that he cheats. Whereas like Han may do some sketch things, but he almost always ends up accountable for the stuff he does. Like he'll swindle, but I don't think he would like cheat at a card game or do anything like that. So I think they kind of play like both sides of that, like that kind of like outcast wanting to be a smuggler.
First off, Han would totally cheat in a card game. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Han would
I
go
agree.
all in, lose, and then shoot first.
Well,
yeah, probably.
I mean, in the Blu-ray version, we'll talk about it later. What about like pretty much the rest of the supporting cast? What about Khaleesi, Kira?
I thought she was cool. Some parts of it were like a little awkward.
It doesn't sound cool.
I thought her character, like I liked her character more towards the end of the movie. Up front, she just felt like a plot device, and you didn't really know why. She had no reason for doing anything in the beginning except for following Han. So like her character wasn't that strong. But then once you kind of start to see her calling shots and like doing things, then I started to get behind her.
Yeah, I initially, as she came on, I thought it was just like Han's love interest and Han's reason for getting back to Corellia, that she wasn't going to play a bigger role. So the way that she developed over the course of the movie really surprised me. She's fucking savage.
Yeah, I do like her ascension to power.
Mm-hmm.
How they both started obviously pretty much the same person, same place, same situation, and they went very different paths. Obviously, they had to because she didn't get through the fucking gate or whatever. But clearly, she made it work, and now she's in power. But it's cool to see the different goals, because he was obviously just trying to get back to her while she was trying to better herself. And then she started, you see that, and I think it was a learning curve for Han, because he's trying to get back to save her. I think the fact that she ends up kind of leaving without him and says, I don't fucking need you, I did all this by myself, it almost hardens Han.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and it makes a lot more sense of why he is the way he is in 4, 5, and 6. Because he's been screwed over by basically his mentor. His love interest said, fuck you, I don't need you. Yeah, so I'm happy with her. I wasn't. It took the whole entire movie for me to be happy.
I agree. Yeah, I was like always. I found myself always waiting for the big shift into what Kira's character actually is, because I feel like she's got a few veils on. It's like she's playing different parts as the movie goes on, and then by the time they finally get those cartridges or whatever from the Cloud Riders, then we see like who Kira actually is.
Yeah.
Double crossing somebody by fake double crossing somebody else to end up taking control of Crimson Dawn or whatever, that little section of Crimson Dawn.
And I will say with how much Han and her were making out, I assume they were related.
You would, based on a Star Wars movie.
Based on a Star Wars story.
Yes. Which means
some people were like, I mean, one of the risks about making the movie was that you can't have him, like you talked about a lot, like you can't have him be too good of a guy because he still has to make that arc later on. And I've seen people complaining about that he helped Enfys Nest instead of just like surviving and running. But he wasn't doing it. I don't think he was doing it to help Enfys Nest. The way the plot was set up, it seemed like he was doing it so he could finally leave with Kira. Like that was the whole reason he was like, because he thought Kira was going to leave with him if they did this. Yeah. So they were just going to like double cross and dip.
This is an interesting thing about Han.
I disagree though, because I think that's why Kira left. He's too much of a good person at the core. She's doing whatever the fuck it takes and doing very, very bad things, killing everybody to get where she needs to be. So I feel like that was kind of the split where while Han does very bad things, very questionable things, and may screw a couple people over, he is still good at heart and will help. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, he's not wholeheartedly into it yet. He is helping spark the fucking fire, flame, rebellion shit.
Of course.
With some fuel.
Of course.
But, yeah, so he's still going to fuck around and do his own bullshit for the next 10, 15 years.
I mean, I thought he did it for Kira because after they leave the yacht and him and Beckett have like that showdown, Beckett like warns him and he's like, don't do this for her. So like even after that whole thing went down and they had already double crossed Dryden, like they knew it seemed like Beckett knew like he was doing it just so him and Kira could finally leave. That was his goal the whole movie.
Yep.
Was to like get through this and then me and Kira can leave like the whole time. And then in the end he was stuck with, okay, I guess I helped these people out. And they offered for him to join, which I liked, and that like hesitant no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like it because for me it makes it more believable now that he would come back at the end of A New Hope.
Yes, because I think I was gonna say I think what they really added about Han is that he thinks that he can't be a good person in order to get ahead. Like that's the way he's been raised on Corellia and in that gang and everything. Like he thinks if he wants to be successful, he has to be a scoundrel and double crossing people and joining up with these thieves and everything. Because everybody says, and he ends up doing the right thing at the end of the day at a few points throughout the movie. And even Kira says, like, I might be the only person who actually knows you or knows who you truly are. Like he thinks he has to be a badass scoundrel thief, but at the end of the day, he's always going to do the right thing.
I think you hit the nail on the head. You can't be a good person and get ahead. And that's what he knew. But at the same time, and that's what he's going to live by all the way up through episode 4.
Depends on your definition of getting ahead.
But I feel like
also,
by helping out that group, for the first time, the good guys win. And he saw it work out that way. That
True.
People can make a difference. He lost. Well, everybody loses. Everybody fucking dies in the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's a good point. And I never really thought about it that way. That might be the first time he saw the good guys win, ish, or at least get what they want, for a greater good. Mm-hmm. That he actually made a difference. He's never made a difference outside of himself.
Yeah.
Maybe Chewie, but I mean,
right. But again, that was circumstantial. Like he didn't do that on purpose, but then he ended up. I don't know. It's like he
ended up helping them.
Yeah, like he ends up doing the right thing accidentally a lot of the time, which is interesting.
No, yeah, very
it's
true.
like he's this good person at the core, but he's trying to put this persona on of a badass and don't give a fuck. Yeah. But he can't live up to that all the time because he knows he's a good person.
Well, I don't think he feels like he can make a difference outside of himself.
True. Yeah.
Which is
until
the thing.
Leia tells him he can.
Right.
Yeah.
And this might have been the spark or the seed that was planted where.
Please don't say spark.
Even though it was an accident, the spark.
Please don't say.
Guys, the movie was really fucking. Not anymore. Commander.
I can't hear that word anymore. No, it was great.
First of all, I am so happy we didn't see Jabba the Hutt on screen.
I agree. I'm glad he was referenced. I wish he would have.
Exactly.
I actually even like that he didn't say Jabba. I just thought it was cool that he was referenced.
I'm pretty sure.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure they said Gardula the Hutt though.
They did not.
Yes, they did.
I didn't hear that. It might have though.
When they're on Corellia and she says like, "What if we get caught?" I'm pretty sure she says we could get sold as slaves to Gardula the Hutt.
I heard Hutt something. I didn't think it was Gardula the Hutt. And now while we're on this topic, let's talk about all the references.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Gardula the Hutt was the one that originally owned Anakin and Shmi, so I thought that was a nice... Dude, there were so many prequel references. Dude, I was so happy.
Aura Singh? That was fucking sweet.
Yes, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Warwick Davis's character, the one that's in Infus Nest Group, is the same one that was at the pod races in episode 1.
Yep.
2 tubes, isn't it?
2 tubes.
Yeah.
They mentioned Gleanne Selm. They mentioned Terrace Kasi.
An Orange Rhodian.
An Orange Rhodian. Yeah.
Wait, there was an Orange Rhodian?
Yeah, one of the Cloud Riders.
Holy shit.
It was a lot.
There was a lot of EU references too to like the Han Solo and Lando adventures from like the old EU stuff.
Yep. There was. They mentioned
they brought up Aura Singh.
Yeah, Aura Singh.
She's literally not even a thing in any other movies. You see her on screen, they don't say anything about her.
Prequel memes is gonna go off for the next like month. There's gonna be so many things on there.
Maybe. I feel like that's also the group of people that hate the Disney era movies.
Yeah, they introduced near human finally for like for real. In the novels, they always talk about like species that are near human. So they're like human. They're not 100% human. So like Dryden Voss's character is near human. So it's like a mix between species, which in the books is talked about a lot.
I thought those were stretch marks from a very happy time in his life.
Dude, they turn red as he gets mad.
That is so cool.
See, I didn't notice that. I heard people talking about that. I was like, man, I fucking missed that.
Yeah, and it almost like showed his emotion, just the same way humans do. Your face gets red when you get fucking pissed.
Dude, his collection in the background was so cool.
Yeah. They mentioned... The fuck else did they mention? Oh, the VCX 100. Han says that's what he bluffs that's the ship that he has, which is the Ghost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
which fits for the timeline.
L3 gets installed into the Falcon.
Yep.
I feel like there's a lot more that I'm missing. I need to see this movie like 14 more times.
What did you guys think about L3?
I liked
She's cool.
what she was. She reminds me of Lebo. Did you ever play Shadows of the Empire?
No, but Lebo, I think
I did a little bit, but not
Jedi Knight
enough.
Too.
Maybe. Yeah, he used to just stick with the Ebon Hawk. So like, or not the Ebon Hawk, whatever the other one is, Outrider.
Yeah.
Wherever that would go. I liked how she was like a mixture of a bunch of different droids. Like,
yeah, she was like a prostitute droid. She was also like a handmaiden.
I think she had an astromech in her. There was just a bunch of shit going on. She was cool.
Yeah,
I thought she was funny.
Yeah, her little droid rebellion was fucking hilarious.
The gonk droid stomping on the computers was hilarious.
Yeah, just her whole attitude, I really did enjoy. I like the character, so like I don't love that she got killed off within the movie, but I thought it was great that she could be there for that little part of comic relief and then get out of the way for like the bigger story.
It's what I really liked about this movie is pretty much everybody lost someone.
Mm-hmm. True.
Lando loses what's her name? L3?
L3, yeah.
I keep wanting to say M3 for whatever reason. Obviously everybody dies. I love it. It makes the stakes much higher. It makes it a much more gritty time period, and or maybe on a grand scale, maybe the galaxy is just a rough fucking place.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised that most of Beckett's crew went out in that first mission.
Oh,
like I was expecting
absolutely.
a lot of them to go throughout the entire movie and die at the end, but
absolutely,
especially his girlfriend or maybe wife, I don't even know, got taken out like right away.
Pilot was the best part of the fucking movie.
Yeah, dude, he was fucking sweet.
John Favreau's character that dude was so funny.
Did he voice that?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's awesome.
I thought that was cool to like that really sent a lesson to Han. I think like his first real job, half the crew dies.
Yeah,
instantly. Just like, this shit is not going to work out, bud. You're gonna live alone.
And it's not all fun and games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all we're gonna go on a job and steal some shit. Clearly everything's not gonna work out. Because I'm glad they did that, because even in episode 7, when they're talking about the Rathtars and Finn asks like, how did you get so many Rathtars on here? We used to have a larger crew, and it almost like he does it like in a happy, like, haha, that's hilarious. But fuck you, Han. You're everybody's fucking dying, and you're laughing this shit off.
You let everybody die.
What if Chewie got eaten by a goddamn Rathtar? It wouldn't be fucking funny then. I hate Han Solo. Why did they make a fucking movie? Ruin my childhood.
Kathleen Kennedy, goddammit. How could you do this to me? How could you ruin everything?
So moving forward, obviously the biggest moment was the Darth Maul. Goddamn, what the fuck? This is no joke. Not only nobody expected that clearly,
right?
But even if someone said, "Hey, Solo's gonna have a character in it," name someone that would never be in it. I wouldn't even name Maul. I'd be like, I don't know, Sidious, Vader. I don't know what the fuck. Or maybe we'll see one of the Rebel characters in it. Like that would have been cool and holy shit. Darth Maul's not even on the fucking option list. And he shows the fuck up and he's ordering shit around. Now I am kind of confused. Is Kira battle hardened because she's been training with the motherfucker? That was my question.
She said Dryden taught her.
Yeah, but clearly she's answering to someone else.
She's kind of got to know what she's doing in order to survive.
Yeah.
Also, to your point,
how she got off Corellia.
To your point, really quick, the funny fucking thing about that is that before we went into the movie, Ren was talking shit. It was like, yeah, Darth Maul's in this one. He makes an appearance, and we were all just laughing at him like, you're an idiot. That's never going to happen. There's no force and no lightsabers in this entire thing. And then he came on screen, and we jumped out of our seats and we're shouting. Motherfucker, dude, I did not expect that. That was so crazy.
So it was spoiled to you, and you still didn't realize it.
Well, I don't even know if he knew. I think he was just talking shit.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, what? No way. That would never happen.
Absolutely. So go ahead.
I thought it was cool too, because I watch Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff, and I keep up with it, and I've been really happy with what Maul's become over time. It took a while. The beginning was kind of in Clone Wars, but I thought as soon as he started running the Shadow Collective in Clone Wars, I thought that was awesome. Just the fact that he's just been surviving off of hatred for
it's sweet
for 20 years, 22 years. He's just been living off of hatred.
But naturally, you got to think. So just the fact that he's not a Vader, he was pushed aside because he's not Vader. Anywhere, being number 3 strongest fucking person in the galaxy can get you pretty fucking far.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that he is able to do all this shit because he's so pissed. And I think he started, and obviously I haven't seen all of Rebels, but you see him become himself and understand what he can do outside of being number 2 to Sidious.
And then
I love that
he ruins it all.
Number 3 in the goddamn galaxy is gonna get you really fucking far.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he ruins it all.
But number 1 and 2, you can do whatever you want.
I thought it was awesome too, knowing that they put him in a movie where he dies 8 years later. We know he dies, so it's kind of cool to see a character that, for me, it was rewarding, knowing that I watch all that stuff, and to see that for me, I was right away, I was oh my God, this makes so much sense. This is what he would be doing right now. Between Clone Wars and Rebels, this is what he was doing.
Yep.
And it makes so much sense.
Just think, as a movie perspective, people that only watch the movies, I would be fucking livid if I was only a movie watcher. Because you watch him get fucking cut in half and die in episode 1. And then fucking 30 years later, he's over here running shit.
That's their super sneaky way to get you to go back and watch the cartoons and read the comics and everything.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not saying it's right.
Right.
But if there were, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that only watch the movies and are obviously familiar with him, but not familiar with his whole backstory where he goddamn cut in half and lives another 30 years. So I can see where there's a lot of concern with that. But
that
also
was risky. That was so risky.
Yeah.
I think so too.
John Kasdan was talking about it because it was his idea, and to put it in the script. And he said that I don't know, it was on StarWars.com or something, but he was talking about that idea that there's always something bigger behind the next door, and they knew that Dryden couldn't be the full big bad guy of this movie,
right?
And they wanted they wanted to make that underworld feel more like how Maul ran the Shadow Collective in Clone Wars. He's the one that brought the Pike Syndicates in. They wanted it to have this bigger feel of this isn't just the story of 10 people. This is affecting a lot of the underworld. And he said the only character that he could think of is Maul. He was it fit so perfect that for us to see an evil character who's dark side but isn't a Sith, technically has a vendetta against everyone. Wants to kill all the Jedi, wants to kill all the Sith, wants to just ruin everything.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense that he would be doing something so dark and twisted.
I would have been okay if it was like Boba Fett.
I was hoping for a small cameo of Boba Fett.
I would have been okay if Boba Fett was running the shit by then, because even in the Clone Wars, when he's 10 years old, he's running the goddamn Aura saying fucking everything. He's running everything.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
15 years later, that would have been sweet if he was like actually running shit.
I like what you said though, Jake, is like, it's a movie about those 8, 10, 12 people, but everything that happens affects on such a larger scale. And that's something that I've been waiting for. And we were talking last week, like we said, as we were saying, I don't know if it was about Solo specifically, or maybe we were talking about our hopes for the Jon Favreau TV series. But it's like, I want something that seems like it's on a smaller scale about a specific group of people and isn't about the Empire or the Rebellion, but in the background, there is some Empire and Rebellion shit happening. And it felt like we got a lot of that from Solo, and you don't even realize it till the end, which is cool. Like it sucks you right into that exact action. And then by the end of the movie, you think back, you're like, oh, like there's Enfys Nest. The Rebellion is starting to grow. Darth Maul's there. Like, man.
Like I told you, as soon as I saw it, I texted you and I was like, this movie feels like everything that has happened, and everything that will happen makes sense. It will happen. Like all the prequels, all the books, all the cartoons, like all the new canon books, like everything, it just felt like it fit so perfectly.
Yeah.
What it was, and it didn't try to reach too far. And like even the stuff that's not technically canon, like the Plagueis book, if Maul is really running the underworld like that, like Sidious would be proud, because that's everything that like Plagueis is teaching Palpatine in that book is like live in the shadows, pull the strings from behind, rule with fear, scare the shit out of everyone, but also like know when to show yourself and when not to. And like I don't think I could have seen Maul on the big screen and been like more happy about how well it was executed and how unconsequential it was to the film.
Agreed.
It doesn't affect anything that happened before it.
Right. It didn't hinge on it at all. It also opens up the possibility. I think this is my favorite part, is the fact that they pulled it off. It was risky, but it worked. It opens up the possibility of all of the, what are you laughing at? All of the EU comics, books, and cartoons making their way into the films, which is
working everything back in. Yeah.
Yes. Which is something that has happened reference wise, but hasn't happened with like an actual character. Like Hera didn't pop up on screen yet. But now that Maul did, there's potential for some of that stuff happening.
Right. Someone on, I think Reddit was talking about like, what if we see something kind of happen with the next like standalone films that come out where they kind of form this loose, like not counting Rogue One, but the next two, if they start to form this kind of like loose trilogy of in between episode 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Or like even this loose saga where like, you have all of these things going on. Cause then if we do a Boba Fett movie, or say we do like an Obi-Wan movie,
right? They're
all taking place within a relatively close time. And everything could be kind of affected by what's going on with like Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
And with like all this stuff. So if there is a Boba Fett movie and an Obi-Wan movie coming, we could get some cool, inclusive stuff switching back and forth between those films without them needing each other too much. Where like if Boba Fett comes in and has something that connects to Crimson Dawn, and then, I mean, one of my favorite Obi-Wan things in the Clone Wars was when he went undercover as a bounty hunter. Like that was fucking crazy. So like if we got this loose little like Crimson Dawn trilogy out of some like anthology films, that would be cool.
Yeah. We're in Marvel territory where these next batch of movies could easily intertwine and not rely on each other, but definitely reference each other. And yeah, since the next ones that we know about so far are Fett and Kenobi, I've heard a lot of people talking about the possibility of, I don't want to call it like the Solo trilogy, but a trilogy of movies happening leading up to episode 4 and Rogue One that includes all of this stuff, just like you mentioned. I think that'd be sweet. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, there's room for Thrawn too, if they finally want to give an alien up front. That'd be cool.
Yep.
The best thing, I know I speak for all of us. The best thing about Solo is the fact that at the same time of it can live by itself and it's great by itself, it's also intertwined with the galaxy. Every turn, every scene, every mention, every cameo, it's so ingrained in it. But at the same time, it stands alone so well. And there's a fine line, and I've never seen a Star Wars movie do that. Because usually, they especially like plot-wise, they latch on to the galaxy and what's existed and characters that have existed. They finally were just like, no, the plot line's way the fuck over here, and the plot line is going to be the movie itself, or we're going to float around here in the galaxy, float around like the Millennium Falcon. Also, holy shit, 12 parsecs. I was on the fucking edge of my seat.
Oh yeah,
so
we haven't talked about the Falcon yet.
Holy shit!
Okay,
I was kind of so the 12 parsecs thing and the crazy fucking tentacruel that was in fucking space.
Yeah,
was so outrageous, but at the same time, I'm so okay with it because it exists in a part of space that no one's even supposed to be in.
Yeah,
And
like no one has ever seen that before. Yeah.
Like if it was just a floating octopus and like outside of Tatooine, I would have fucking freaked out and I would have just walked out. I'm not joking, but the fact that it exists in a part of space that like no one really knows about, I'm completely okay with it.
I'm not okay with it, but it didn't ruin the movie for me or anything, and it didn't even ruin the
Kessel
Kessel
Run. Wait, you were really
Run.
pissed at that part?
I'm not pissed at it. I just don't like it. It's a giant fucking space kraken.
It's true, but I mean, we saw the fucking space kraken in a trailer. You didn't expect it?
I just didn't. I don't know. I don't care.
At least the kraken didn't speak Wookiee like every fucking else.
That's true. Like it didn't talk, or it didn't have like force sensibilities or some shit.
Oh, Solo! Like,
yeah, that could have ruined it for me. No, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just part of that sequence, and I could.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I have no
Falcon's
thoughts.
cool.
I can't even think about it.
I thought the space kraken could have been the most cringeworthy thing in Star Wars of all time. But like I said, and I'm going to repeat it, the fact that it lives in a part of space that no one's supposed to be able to go to, I'm so okay with it.
It's
First of
Abeloth.
all, what the fuck does it eat?
It's
How did
Abeloth.
it get that big?
Stars.
It ate stars.
That's what I said.
Wait, did you guys ever read like Fate of the Jedi?
No.
Oh, never mind. It's possible that has something to do with Abeloth, which used to be the mother. So there's like the father, the son, and the daughter, and then there's the mother.
Wait a second.
Yeah. So the maw, the maw, like that area that they're in. He's like, oh shit, we're getting close
outside
to the
of
maw.
yeah.
Yeah, so the maw is where the father, the son, and the daughter are originally from before they went to Mortis.
Wait, and you're talking about the Force people, right?
Yeah,
From the Clone
it's
Wars?
like, they're called like the ones.
Yeah.
Well, they're originally from the EU. Like Jason Solo has to fight them, and
We're talking about the same thing, right? Where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka get
that's all. That's all from like the old books.
Shinobi's about to chime in right now.
Grandmaster Luke had to like fight them. There's a couple like stations that were built in the maw in the EU, and so there's like the mother, and the mother was like became Abeloth. It's like this whole weird thing, but like one of the forms of Abeloth had like 8 arms, and it like lived inside the maw, but it's like changed forms over time. It's all like weird Fate of the Jedi, old EU stuff.
See,
My favorite.
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. While I'm not happy with it, I'm okay with it. It is just for how down to earth Solo has been or was throughout the entire movie. It was very character developing, very struggle within for each character. Still struggle within. Worst song on fucking that album.
But still pretty good.
Yeah, fairly decent. I'm okay with it. Like I said, it could have been worse. The fact that there's a fucking star-eating octopus, and of course Han Solo gets away from it, is ridiculous. But let's fucking do it.
Make sure you don't look up the old drawing or the old like.
I'm looking at it right now. Do it.
Of Abeloth.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yep, it looks like a 1950s
like
Spider-Man
Ghost.
cartoon on a cereal box.
Yep. But it was cool to hear like the Maw reference because that ties into the whole like Mortis family, which is another reference again to Clone Wars and Rebels, which is bringing in these like really small EU things that are kind of like one of a kind. So I was hyped that like the Maw was referenced and just that Kessel was portrayed that way.
Why do I, when I search Abeloth, I get some fucking Black Swan Joker looking hoe, and then I also get a cartoon villain from Scooby-Doo.
That's what I was just saying.
They're the same one.
They're the same person, huh?
It's like, yeah, she used to live in the Maw.
This is that classic post Return of the Jedi EU that everybody misses so much. I really wish we still had that cereal box villain in Star Wars. Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, the fact that it's not canon, like we just know this. There's a big tentacle beast, you know. But obviously,
yeah, I'm not mad about it.
It might have been pulled from something like
Shinobi.
that.
I'm not mad about it. It's not going to ruin the movie. It's on the Borgullet level. It's just like, why? Okay. Next scene.
Whoa! A mind-reading octopus.
I don't think it's quite Borgullet level.
I don't. Yeah, I think Borgullet's a little more cringeworthy, honestly.
I thought Borgullet and
the fact that it's Borgullet.
Who is the squid that was running the crime syndicate on Corellia? Lady Marmalade or something. Those two, I'm just like
some shit right out of Men in Black. I saw that hoe in the background trying to enter Earth space. Oh man,
Lady Proxima, right?
Lady Proxima, yeah. I was like, okay, nope.
See, I feel like the beginning is what the original like Lord and Miller version was, because it's very like the whole like rock thermal detonator thing, like that all feels very Guardians.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of matures as it goes on. So I feel like the script, the original script, really shows itself in the third act. I feel like that's like really where like Kasdan's like writing shows itself.
Wait,
but,
say that again.
Because I mean, it's John and Lawrence Kasdan wrote it, but then they've obviously had 3 directors touch it now. So if there's 75% of reshoots, some of that stuff's still going to be in. I feel like the beginning shows more of what
the original shot stuff
of what Lord and Miller might have read the script and been like, oh, cool, Guardians of the Galaxy style will work. But then like as the script progresses, it matures, and that style would not have held over for the end. Like that last 30 minutes would not have worked Guardians of the Galaxy style.
Right.
Like, no way.
I'm distracting you, turd muffin. Whatever the fuck he says. Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
Upset.
What are you upset about?
I don't know, man. What did you guys have any major issues?
Kathleen Kennedy.
I agree.
I'm pissed. No.
How dare she give us another movie?
We talked about this in the group chat a little bit. I didn't love. Again, it's not a major issue. I didn't love that they gave us some pre-movie text.
I liked it
before the credits.
I liked it.
See, I feel like if you're gonna do that, why not just do the crawl? Because that's what the crawl is supposed to be. It sets up.
Because it's like a preface, and then you have the first like mini act, and then you have a time jump. So like the text is setting up that like intro. That way the time jump doesn't feel weird. Like remember Rogue One? If you could like jump right into Rogue One, and it's like action right away, and then they're like, oh, by the way, 3 years later. So like I think the text helped with the pacing a lot, because it was so clunky that first 20 minutes.
But they did that in Rogue One. They didn't have any like opening text at all, and it was when she was a kid, and then it flash forwards to 15 years later.
That's a big time jump, though.
Yeah.
And that whole beginning scene was like very clearly early on. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it worked for like that type of.
There's no crawl for Rogue One.
No, just go straight into it.
Well,
no, that's what I was saying.
They're not going to put a crawl on the.
No, I understand, but like, what's the point of removing the crawl idea if you're still going to have to set the movie up with text?
Because it's not.
It doesn't ruin it. I'm just saying.
Is for the crawl is like for an epic, like you're getting dropped right into the action. This is just like a slight preface.
Not only that, but the crawl for the trilogy movies. This is where we left off. This is where we are, and this is the current conflict.
Yeah.
In the story that we've already been watching.
Yeah, no, I feel it.
This text was more just setting up, this is where the fuck we are.
Yeah, I guess so. I was watching it. I was just like
happy with it. And
Cody, we're changing your mind. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you don't
I won't change my mind. Actually, now that I've been thinking more about it, the fact that they didn't do a crawl, I think that there's no crawling in Solo. I hate Star Wars now. Everything that happened in the 80s is terrible. Kathleen Kennedy, I don't understand. It's all shitty. You've done the opposite. You've changed my mind the opposite way.
All right. Anyone got any favorite Easter eggs?
The Oris thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really cool.
And then the fact that they announced that she's like dead is so cool because she's a character that hardcore Star Wars fans know. And like, even if you're a casual Star Wars fan, you've seen her on screen and you probably didn't even fucking know who it was. You've seen her on episode 1 watching the fucking pod races. And
or it was so quick that you didn't even notice that she was up there. Yeah.
I mean, she's connected to Boba too. So
Yep.
Yeah. I swear I heard somebody say Zalbar.
No, they said the Zan sisters, I thought.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it was 100% Zelbar or not, but me and Tommy Boy both. Obviously, it's not Zelbar from KOTOR, but I'm just saying. I swear to God, somebody in that movie said the word Zelbar.
Val said like we could have hired Bosker, the Zan sisters.
No, it was a different scene. It was when the Wookiees were escaping Kessel.
Oh, what?
Oh,
that would be crazy.
It was when all of them were escaping Kessel, and it was like kind of frantic, and yeah,
that'd be a cool little nod.
Like even if it was just some other Wookiee that was also named Zelbar.
Well, good.
Can we talk about the heroin addict Wookiee that Chewie helped up? What happened to the
Planet of the Apes one?
The Planet of the Apes Wookiee?
I don't remember that.
There's another Wookiee on screen. Are you kidding me?
Someone said no, it was malnourished. That's why it looked like that.
Oh my God, he didn't have face hair. It was so bad. He looked like a pug. Like there was hair
the main
everywhere
one,
but his face.
Like the main one that he says like goodbye to when he decides to stay with Han.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
His face looked like a fucking chocolate chip cookie.
When you said the heroin addict Wookiee, I was like thinking of a Wookiee that was like snorting Kessel mine spice or something in the background.
He was.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
That was cringeworthy. That's honestly probably more cringeworthy than the goddamn octopus that runs space.
Possibly. That runs space. Possibly. Nicole just jumped in and said that she couldn't stand the fucking feminist slave droid.
See, I loved it. See it that way.
I loved it. You know why I loved it? Because
I think it's fun.
Star Wars movies are based on reality, what's going on. And people are so up in arms and so into what they're into. I fucking liked it. And I
agree with what's going on these days is a droid revolution. The droids are enslaved in America.
I thought it was like a tip of the hat and a laugh to what's the fuck's going on in real life.
But it's also nothing new. Like one of the oldest things when talking about like droids and robots is rebellion. Like even back to Blade Runner and like all that stuff. Like it's Terminator. A common theme. Like Terminator, anything. Yeah. So I don't think it's like. I just think it's interesting that everything's so politically charged right now that people have to like make it a SJW thing. I don't think it is. I think she was never like, she never even talked about being a female really. Like she just had a girl's voice. So people like jumped to that conclusion. But I thought it was just strictly about droids rebelling in like a humorous, satirical way.
It was fucking 100% satire.
I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it was fucking hilarious. I loved it.
Can we talk about Lando getting angry hand jobs from L3? What the fuck is happening? Like
it's hilarious.
I can see Cassian being more emotional about K2. The Lando like hold with I can appreciate it because obviously you just lost basically your first mate, but there was an awkward sexual tension.
Yeah,
it was supposed to between a droid and Lando.
Yeah,
you think Lando has lines? Do you think there's a line in the sand for Lando where he's
banging circuitry? It was fucked from
Lando
the beginning.
Will bang whatever.
I'm never gonna look Lando in the face the same again.
Yep.
He was banging a motherboard. This is fucking weird. Sticking his dick in a goddamn USB and hoping for the best. I can't stand it.
Wonder what kind of adapter that shit takes.
Well, he figured it out. That's why he's famous. Because everybody else wants to bang droids too. We're getting to that too. With satire. People are banging robots now.
I was gonna say we're about to get like porn VR sex robots, so it's not far off.
I mean, in the Lando comic, he's like super attached to Lobot. Like they're like he calls him like his brother. They're like super close. And then something bad happens to Lobot and he like loses a lot of his like personality. And then that's how we see him in Empire. but originally him and Lobot were like best friends. Like that was his boy.
That he was bad. Wait,
Maybe.
hey,
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Lando.
In their comic, they're super close.
I'm happy. I will say the one thing.
Say
That-
it. Speak it.
Look, I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
It was honestly, I came out of this movie thinking that was more fun than any other Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
I still think the casting could have been better.
I disagree.
For who?
Kira, I was like, there's some acting stuff that, like, she just, I don't know. And then obviously with Han, it was a miss for me.
Nope.
I loved it.
I loved it too. I
It
think
was like-
a lot of the stuff that people were hung up about is like they expected him to be Harrison Ford in 1977
Right,
and not
right.
Han. I thought it was great.
I got a good way to look at it.
Do it.
Have you ever seen a friend from high school after 10 years of not seeing them?
No.
And then being like, how the hell was
Yeah.
I ever friends with you?
This fucker
They're-
up here.
Like, people change over time so much. Like,
Yeah.
I was so happy that they were willing to do like 20-year-old Han is not going to be 35-year-old Han.
Yeah,
Like,
for
there's
sure.
no way. Like,
But-
you're different at different points in your life. So I was totally fine with him not acting like Harrison Ford.
But
Mhm.
still,
it's not. It's. I'm not saying that it wasn't believable. I'm saying his acting was part crap.
I didn't think so.
Like I
I
didn't.
thought it
think-
was so good.
really. I everything he said was like half believable, and maybe that's part of what Han's supposed to be because he's kind of selling himself further
Right.
than he should be.
Dude, the scene where he gets separated from Kira, that was acted so well.
Everybody's gonna act like that. She's the only one giving out. I'm putting out to him. Like you're gonna fucking fight for it. But I don't know what it is, and it almost maybe I went into it with a bias because I didn't like his acting in the trailers, and the way he said stuff. I was like, dude, you are missing me. You're missing me left and right.
I
Like
love what
when she says, I know who you really are, and he goes, what's that? I'm like, stop.
See, I thought I love that because
I did
he
too.
like laughed and tried to play it off, but at, like 2 seconds after he laughed, he got serious because he was worried that she actually knows who the fuck he is. Like he's trying to be a badass, but he's actually just a good guy.
Yeah,
the end of
but
the
I
day.
still didn't believe him. I know what
I
he was
did.
trying to do.
I 100% did.
Well, just
Patrick,
because you're talked into goddamn chocolate ice cream doesn't mean I have to eat vanilla.
just because I'm a Disney shill doesn't mean I have to love everything. Patrick
Yeah.
here summed it up very well. He was hesitant about Han's character from the trailers and everything, but 10-15 minutes in the movie was sold 100% in.
Look, I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying if I had to pick one thing out of the entire movie to shit on, I would pick the casting. I don't know. I wasn't. What I'm trying to say, maybe he was more believable than I expected.
Imagine
but
a world.
do I think someone else could have done better? Absolutely.
Picture
I
a
think
world
someone else
where
could have done better.
you don't have to pick one thing to shit on out of the movie.
But that's what you have to do because there was one thing.
Are you
Yeah, see,
saying
for me, it was
you're-
Lady Proxima and the space tentacle thing.
See, I'm so cool with like, I love like just weird monsters and species in Star Wars. I don't know.
Dude, if they could have put Zac Efron there, I think he could have goddamn done better. He would have been shirtless half the time, which, whatever. But I would have been okay. I would have been okay with it, guys. Anything else that you guys, out of the normal Star Wars cringy moments where there's a worm running the fucking crime
Yeah,
syndicate.
like I said, I'm not that worried about it.
No, I'm saying, is there anything else?
Major cringe stuff.
No, anything else that you're going to be critique?
I was kind of bummed that Val died so early. I would have liked to see her, not just for seeing her more, but I would have liked to see her die because of Dryden. That way, when you see Beckett double cross them for Dryden, then Han like learns that lesson of like, even though Dryden was responsible for Val's death, he's still willing to take sides with him just to survive. I think that would have been cool, like to see her a little bit longer and like die, like either on Kessel or like something they were doing just to survive because Dryden was threatening them.
Yeah,
I thought she died kind of non-consequentially, which kind of bummed me out. Like I feel like she didn't have to die there.
I thought it was quick, but I liked the fact that
I like the timing, but what you said, like if there was a little bit more context, it would have been nice.
Because I feel like Beckett represents Han if Han never found Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
Like if Han would have lived until he was Beckett's age and never met Luke and Leia, Beckett is who he would have become.
you would have killed yourself.
You lost me.
No, because Han, if Han shoots,
I get it. Yeah. The old days.
not
of
that you're committing
Past,
suicide over Star Wars, because
No.
Kathleen Kennedy ruined my childhood.
But she did.
But okay,
I honestly
Um,
don't have a serious like
what about-
grievance and cringe or complaint. Like
Okay,
I pick
what
on like the worm tentacles shit ever since Rogue One just because. But
it's a part
it's
of Star
not
Wars.
like I'm gonna walk out of the fucking theater. It's fine.
every
If you
other
guys-
species has tentacles. I'm
If you
okay
guys
with
do
Yeah,
want to
it's
look,
fine.
there is a thread on the Star Wars Reddit right now from someone who liked the movie and was just like, "Hey, I loved Solo, but I'm curious to see like what people didn't like about it." And for the most part, all the comments are like, "Oh, I loved it, but like here's a small critique. Here's a small critique."
Yeah.
So if you guys do want to see it, I would go check that out. There's a lot of like good things that you could see, like totally understand. Like, oh, you don't like that? That makes sense, but it still is like not huge plot points.
Yeah. Yeah. And Shinobi just brought up, kind of restated it. This is Han before he was Han. It's not a Harrison Ford impersonator. So I like that.
It still doesn't make him a great actor. You're not talking me into it.
He is a good actor.
I think
I
he was great. Yeah.
I thought he was great in Hail Caesar too.
In what?
Hail Caesar.
Jeez.
You haven't seen that?
Nope.
That's
Oh.
enough.
I've never heard of it.
It's pretty good. Coen Brothers, same dudes that did like the Big Lebowski and everything.
Well, if that dude's in it, I ain't watching it because it's terrible acting.
Your life is so easy.
Exactly.
Fucking Disney
So,
show over
everything's
here.
easy when your mind's already made up before you go into stuff.
That was a good one. That was a good burn.
No, okay. Are we done with Solo? Overall thoughts? Are we gonna rank it? Not in a grand ranking, but like out of 3.
Quickly, what do you guys think of the Falcon? And also, I love that there was the weirdness about the Kessel Run being in 12 parsecs, and 12 parsecs is a measurement of distance,
Quick?
not time.
Can you
But
talk about that?
yeah, I think that would be cool. I think the fact that they made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs, like a shorter route through the same thing that was way more dangerous, and just like retcon the entire distance versus time thing was fucking awesome.
In the EU, it used to be that Han would brag about it because it was more of a boast about his navigation skills instead of the speed of the ship.
Yeah.
So like that's why in the EU he would always brag about it. So I thought it was cool that they kind of like muddied the lines again.
Yeah.
So like now we're still not sure if it is time or distance. Because like if you take the Kessel Run straight through like that wormhole thing, then it's could be 20 parsecs of time or distance. But like to do it faster would mean you'd have to take a shortcut like through the Maw, but would also need a fast ship. So it's like, I don't know, maybe it's some weird Star Wars time and distance thing.
Because they even refer to it beforehand. Like you said, no one's done it less than 20 parsecs. Everybody assumes that's going to be time, but distance still works there.
The crow flies, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
liked
I
it.
never really looked in depth. I still assumed it was time because I took a shortcut.
I like that we can't say one or the other.
Very true. I like how the Falcon gradually got destroyed and into
That
its
last shot
what a
of
piece
it
of junk
busted.
state by the end of the movie. Yeah.
When it's just crashed and busted, I was like, that is the Falcon now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's when Han loves it, when it's all busted up.
Well, and I also like that because while it almost says something about Han as a character, like Lando likes his clean, pristine capes and all this shit, and his ship's going to be fucking spotless. The first fucking time Han flies the thing, busted up, satellite's gone, shit, and it's already like, I feel like the interior quickly got dirty and shit's breaking. And it's just like, it's almost like the condition of the Falcon shadows the character who's flying it.
Yeah. I like that. Also, it lost the very first satellite dish.
Yep.
In this one.
Yeah.
So it gets replaced twice.
Now, I will say this. I did not notice the center front piece break off. I noticed when it was missing when he landed on the final sand planet. but I didn't notice it actually break off.
It was when the thing was chasing him, and he unleashed the, I don't even know what you would call it, like the cargo at the front of the ship, and dropped it, and then the creature started chasing that instead of the ship, so they could take off.
Oh, okay. I think, and that's right when like kind of the satellite breaks too. I noticed the satellite break.
It was a quick, I don't even want to say quick, but there was a lot going on in that sequence. It was kind of hard to follow sometimes. I need to see it again. Just a lot of details.
Man, I'm just thinking back through the movie there because there's a lot for how simple of a plot line it was. There's a lot, man.
Yeah.
The first time Han starts flying it, and then Chewie jumps in a co-pilot seat and knows exactly what the fuck to do.
So sweet.
I was like, oh my God, yes.
It's like everybody's fucking up being the co-pilot, and he's just standing back there, just like waiting. Like, guys, come on.
His little theme was so cool too.
Yeah. Can't believe he didn't have one until then. It's so ridiculous.
That's a good point. But he doesn't have a lot of screen time, especially by himself. There's probably zero.
Of just Chewie?
Of just Chewie.
In what, all the other movies? Yeah, I think Last Jedi was probably the first time he was on screen by himself.
True. When Solo, and The Force Awakens, when Solo dies.
There's like that half second of him walking in to find 3PO on Best.
Oh yeah, all that shit when he's dealing with those
we're
fucking
uncovering
gremlins.
all this shit. After Solo dies, Chewie runs through half the Star Killer base and shoots 1,000 people.
Yeah, your theory's totally wrong.
We need like a Chewie mixtape of just all the moments.
So funny.
That's what happens. I make a claim and everybody agrees with me for 30 seconds, and then
we're like, wait a second,
that's completely wrong.
Everything was wrong.
Okay, and what was there was one last thing you said that you want to touch on? It was the Falcon.
I was just saying, what do you guys think about? I mean, character-wise, the Falcon is pretty much a character. So
now it is. Yeah,
I'm very happy with the Falcon from
a certain point of view.
from this movie. I'll just say that.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's cool too that it ties in now to when 3PO tells Han that the ship has a peculiar dialect. I thought that's cool. Like it references L3 now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like it.
Well, and just the fact that the ship is so finicky in the first place.
Yeah.
It's got her like stubborn ass personality inside of it.
Oh, also, this like it's kind of built now, that relationship with Chewie, that he's kind of like Han's moral compass. Because I was rewatching A New Hope, and like at the end when they're about to leave, after he tells Luke like, "May the Force be with you," whatever, he looks at Chewie. Like Chewie growls, and he looks at Chewie, and he's like, "What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing." So like you kind of get this idea now that like Chewie's the one that's like making him, or like telling him he should do the right thing, because he like leaves and then he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And so like now there's this like dynamic between the two of them, that like Chewie's not just his like person that's there to help him. He's like actually like his equal and like his sidekick, and he'll call out Han for shit.
Yeah.
I completely love the fact that they're building to that, or they have built to that, because I'm sick of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
I'm sick of that. And not that I'm not saying that particularly. I'm just saying that aspect of clearly he's in charge and better and smarter and faster and doing all this stuff. Chewie is obviously 196 years old, probably knows 4 times as much as Han, but they work off each other so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Metallica. Individually, they're probably shit musicians, but when they all get into a room and make a song, you're like, holy shit. So when Chewie and Han fly the Falcon, untouchable.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man.
So
what are we thinking? Rankings?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to rank this, and obviously we're going to have a short fucking list. I'm not going to rank this against, I guess that's unfair. I'll say I'm not going to rank it against the sagas, but
then you would be ranking against one movie.
I know, and it would be second, to be honest.
Okay.
Fuck. Obviously it's a 3. I was not excited about it. The fact that they did a Han Solo movie right after they killed Han Solo, I've said it before.
Yeah.
It's disconcerting.
Yeah.
But
movie-wise, it's a 3 for sure.
They did it extremely well.
Yeah.
And the fact that someone can walk into this movie not as a Star Wars fan and still wholeheartedly enjoy it, says so much about this film. Because that's almost impossible for every other Star Wars film.
Yeah.
You have to be a Star Wars fan to understand the rest of Star Wars. This one is just a great plot with clear-cut characters that advance or grow throughout the movie. That's the building of a good film, period. Maybe not. Maybe it's the
No, it
building of a
is.
terrible podcast.
I'm letting your delicious drunk words just sink in because you're right. I'm just more fucking
happy
hard to
with,
rank.
I'm more happy with Solo than I ever expected to be.
True.
Is it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. But I think with what I said, where it walked the line of, if you're a huge Star Wars fan, there was a lot more in there than you would ever expect.
Right.
If you have no clue what the fuck Star Wars is, but you went and saw the movie, you could easily enjoy the fucking movie.
Yeah, and then become a Star Wars fan.
And which has never been done.
Yeah.
By a Star Wars film. So
we do have to do
3 out of 3. Go see it right now.
Yep.
While it's in theaters.
Yep.
I'm wondering how it's going to hold up when you get it on Blu-ray after the fact.
Yeah.
While I don't think the action was key, there is a lot of action. There's always something going on, strife, conflict. It's like a war zone.
It's like a battlefield or a battlefront. I agree. 3 out of 3. I will say we do have to do the rankings because this is Lil Drangus' first time on the show. So we have to hear his ranking of Star Wars movies as well. So yeah, 3 out of 3 for me. What do you think, Mr. Weiss?
Out of 3?
And of course we're doing the beer rating style,
I'll do out of 3.
You have to.
This is something that like I would watch. Like, even the one thing about Rogue One that like I loved it, but I think it is such like a theater movie. It's so like grand in a way that you kind of have to sit down and pay attention to it. Solo is something that I could sit down and pay attention to, but I could also just have it on in the background when like friends are over or while I'm working on stuff. And it's like just the same way with Empire, where they're just like entertaining, or Revenge of the Sith. They're just like entertaining movies that are visually like what I like to see, characters I like to see, just the right amount of humor, but also like consequence. I'll put it, I mean, I did have semi-high expectations just because I expected a lot out of the Kasdans, and I knew after reshoots they wouldn't put out a movie until it was really ready to be put out. So I did expect a lot out of it, and it was more than I expected. So do a 3.
So 4.
That's good.
Good. So everybody's correct.
Yeah.
It is a 3 out of 3 movie. Now, I will say it's concerning to go to Rotten Tomatoes and see a 70% on that.
Fuck them.
Dude.
I don't get it. It's very unfair because all of our points are saying, even if the reviewer is not a Star Wars fan, you should still enjoy this film. I think this is going to be weird for me to say. I think this is a better film than all of the other movies. Film as in plot from point A to point B, character development, and the conflict. I think that's the maybe I'm saying it the other way. This is a better story. You know what I'm saying? So a story and a film are different.
I know what you're trying to say.
Can be like this. The Star Wars, like
this felt like a book.
Say that again.
It felt like a book. Like it felt like one of like an EU novel. Like it felt like something that you could read, and it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the end wants you to know more about that character in that time. Like most of like the EU novels, where even the standalones like Plagueis and stuff like that. Like the end of Plagueis has an open end. The end of Revan has an open end. The end of the Bane series, you still don't get an answer. But they're like these stories that are about the immediate thing right in front of you. There's no huge picture of like, well, what does that mean? Which is like nice about this as a movie, is that it kind of sums itself up within its own plot.
Well, yeah. it like we said, it fits well as a standalone in a large picture, and no other film has done that yet. So it's just so refreshing because I can sit down and half pay attention and still enjoy every fucking thing that happens. I don't have to wholeheartedly. Why is Rey's eyebrow twitch when she says that? Maybe she is. Maybe she's Snoke. I don't like. Who fucking cares? I just went some Joey Diaz there. Just fucking.
Totally.
Let me tell you
pissed.
something, Joe Rogan. I went into Solo and I did a bunch of blow, and I don't remember any of it.
Listen to me, Joe Rogan. I can't.
All right, Mopar, for your ratings thing, I took a screenshot on May 12th. On IMDb, there were 660 ratings for Solo 2 weeks before it came out, and it had a 6.3 out of 10. The movie wasn't even released yet. 660 ratings.
This is shit. Kathleen Kennedy is terrible.
My life is over.
My life
Childhood is over. Everything's terrible.
Everybody's so down in the dumps, just in a general. Like, if you go to Facebook and check out your friends, they're like, I had to work today. Like, so did everybody else. Well, we're not bitching about it. Like, what the
That's why I love that Kathleen Kennedy Thanos meme where it's like, by the end of this, half the Star Wars fans will cease to exist. The ultimate sacrifice.
Hey, man.
Now,
if we needed a better reason for Thanos' character, I think we found it.
I will ask this. Do you think this movie will turn on or turn Star Wars on, turn new?
Yes.
I knew it. Do you think new people, if they saw this, they're like, wow, I should probably watch the rest of them?
Yeah, for sure.
This will introduce. This is a good introduction film.
I think there's going to be some kids too that watch Rebels, like not knowing that, not really understanding that there's like 9 other movies now. And they watch Rebels because it's on Disney XD and they're like 6 years old, 7 years old, or older. I mean, I watch Rebels and I'm like 25. So, but I think there's going to be people who watch like Rebels and Clone Wars that go see this movie and feel like, oh my God, this is a bigger picture. Like, it's not just the characters we see in front of us. Like, everything's kind of connected, but it's still a big universe, and want to go see more.
I can't say it enough. I'm so happy that the Empire isn't all over this fucking movie, because it easily could have been. And I'm happy they told a story outside of the Empire, outside of the Republic, outside of the Rebellion. I'm just so happy because it is opening the door for an existing character to do basically a prequel on an existing character that's in the Rebellion, to be able to open new doors in a standalone movie with that character is so cool.
Yeah.
And to do a movie about an OT character, but have so much reference to the prequels and the cartoons, like that ties the whole intellectual property together in such a fun way.
That's the greatest. That you're like Gandhi right now. That's exactly what this movie does. It bridges the prequels with the original trilogy, with all the references and all the stuff that we talked about or sing. Who the hell is that? Watch episode 1, you dick. And then obviously Han is. I mean, it's almost tying everything together. He's in his goddamn sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's outside of C-3PO, and which I'm not going to fucking watch a C-3PO movie because Kathleen Kennedy ruined everything already. But
if Disney paid me to watch it, I would watch it. I'm a shit.
I mean, an R2 movie, fair enough. I'll watch that all day. But that finicky.
I feel that's one thing. I feel like L3 is if R2 had a translator. Like there's
probably.
And I guess like her mind, or like her original like mind, comes from an R3 unit. Like that's like her base is like an astromech R3 unit, and then it's just been like built on and built on and built on and like edited so many times. I thought it was cool. I thought the glory of the Empire, it was like the Imperial March, but like in a major key while he's in the recruitment center. I thought that was super fun. Like there's all these little things that are like tying the universe together
in a tasteful way. It didn't, and nothing felt forced. Mm-mm. And that's what I think. This movie could have gone off the rails very quickly. Off the rails. A lot of people died when it went off the rails and shit. It could have went off the rails very quickly if they forced all the references, or if they forced characters into this film just for. Oh, we'll sell a lot of Boba Fett shit if we put him in the fucking background. Like, I would have felt it, and I wouldn't have been happy.
Tasteful.
It's very tasteful. It's a tasteful movie. We go from A to B. I'm happy when we land at C.
Good. Now rank it.
Good. Great. Out of what?
What's your new order?
Yeah,
your new ranking, man. What's the favorite Star Wars movies from best to worst?
From best
Obviously,
to worst.
Last Jedi's worst.
Man.
Everything that Empire
You want me to do
worst.
this right now? Okay.
Yeah. You can let Weiss go first if you want.
I'll go first. I'm going to put that pressure on Weiss. He doesn't look ready. Never been ready.
I wrote mine down after I saw Solo, so I can go first, I guess.
Do it. Google Docs.
If you want to think about it. All right. So here's mine. People are pissed already. I can feel it. I can feel your anger. 7, 5, 8, 1, Solo, Rogue One, 3, 4, 6, 2.
Say that again, slower and a sexual voice.
7, 5, 8, 1. Solo Rogue One. 7, 5, 8, 1. Solo and Rogue One. 3.
Wait, you have episode 1 higher than
Yes.
Rogue One
Stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. 3, 4, 6, 2.
Man, 3 is so low.
It's not that low.
It's less than half.
Listen, here's what I was trying to say. And at the end of this tweet, I said, God damn, there's 10 fucking movies now? Like, ranking them when there was 6 was way easier. Now that there's 10, the fact that Revenge of the Sith is number 7 doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I like the other ones a little bit better. It's hard to rank it because now I feel like...
You're gonna need a new ranking system, like 3 categories, 1 from each saga, and a standalone. So like 5, 7, 1. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I see what you mean. Like out of
like 1
so
from
one
each,
from each
like,
trilogy and the standalone movies, pick 1 from each.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like you got to make little brackets.
I'd pick 7, 5, 1, and Solo and Rogue One are really, really close.
I have to see Solo more.
I think I have to see it more too.
I have to see Solo more.
As I wrote down here, I have Solo
Very
above
here.
it, but yeah.
I'll run through mine real quick.
Do it.
Rogue One, 3, 7, 5, 8, Solo, 1, 4, 6, 2.
Nice. I can respect that.
4 and 6 have been quickly dropping.
Yeah.
And I really, it's always difficult. I mean, these are the movies we love, and we always force us upon ourselves.
Yeah.
But
they're all number 1.
2 is a bad film. I don't care who you are. 2 is not a great film.
I think it's pretty good.
That's why you're not allowed back on the show.
I think I think it's really cool for what it is. Like it's a one of a kind Star Wars film. The same way that like Solo and Rogue One are going to be. It's just like it's so like distinct in what he was. Yes, he may have missed a lot of what he was trying to do, but I think that whole like detective like vibe is. I think Clone Wars feels like Attack of the Clones feels like the Clone Wars. Like it feels like the idea he had for Attack of the Clones was fleshed out in the Clone Wars cartoon. Kind of like those ideas. He just jumped around so much.
Yeah.
And it's really cheesy, but it feels like the Clone Wars cartoon fleshed out that whole like idea. But it is still really cringy, super cringy.
We have, by the way, Keegan here that has 8, 7, and 1 all lower than Attack of the Clones on his list. He's a crazy person, I think. He might be hammered.
Might. Well, if he's listening, yeah.
All right, Weiss, you're up.
I'm judging you wholeheartedly on one film to see where that lands.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
I think I'm missing something.
The prequels.
There's 10 of them.
Oh no, I watched a bunch of prequels.
Well, technically there's 11 if people want to include the animated movie.
So are we doing a watchability or like quality?
No, your favorite.
Just your favorite. You as a fan.
It could be a bad film, but you love it.
That's why Phantom Menace is so high on my list.
All right. Well, then let me change one thing.
8 at the bottom. Fuck that.
All right, whatever. 5, 4, 3.
5, 4, 3. You're a
Hell
great
yeah.
human being. You're a great fucking human being. 3 is so high for you. I love it.
5, 4, 3, 7.
Rogue One.
8, 1. Rogue One. Solo. 6, 2.
Interesting. Okay. Do it one more time.
I mean, this is just like as of right now. If I had to sit down and do a marathon and watch like the ones I want to watch the most first. 5, 4, 3, 7, 8, 1. Rogue One. Solo. 6, 2.
As a Phantom Menace fan, I like that 1 is above both the spinoffs. So,
I mean, I could watch Phantom Menace 100 times a year, and I could probably only watch Rogue One like 50.
I think I do watch Phantom Menace 100 times a year.
I mean, 5, 4, and 3 are just like the most fun for me to watch. Like just sitting there quoting lines, like looking forward to certain parts. Like 5, 4, and 3 are like for sure my favorite.
I feel that way about like 5. Well, the ones that I put up there was 5, 7, and 1, but definitely 5 and 7. I find myself talking along with the entire thing.
I'm glad. All right, so I have a feeling.
Glad it's diverse.
I just have a general consensus here. I'm glad that all of us have truly enjoyed 8, but it doesn't have to be the greatest, perfect fucking film.
No, it's right in the middle for me.
Yeah, it's I think 6th for me, or 5th. So I'm just, as a Star Wars community, we need to be able to do that. It can land somewhere in the middle, guys. It really can. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's also not terrible.
Right. I mean, 2's last on my list, but I'll still defend it and talk about why I love watching it.
Right.
Like I have fun watching 2 sometimes. Like Geonosis, Obi-Wan just being a smartass the whole movie and just being so upset with Anakin, but just letting him do his thing.
Yeah.
Like it's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, my top 4 are the first 2 are OT, the third one's prequels, and the fourth one's sequels. Like I'm having fun with it.
Oh man, we gotta work on your Rogue One fandom.
It's like how many times can you watch Dunkirk? Like they're just like it's a war movie. It's like kind of I don't know.
I
agree.
Completely disagree. While I think Rogue One is the most war. I mean, it's war. I think the characters in Rogue One build a larger story outside of the war. It's building on it's building on the soldiers, and that's what I love. Telling a soldier story and seeing what they go through and making episode 4 better. How the fuck in an entirety of life is anyone going to make episode 4 better? Well, Rogue One does.
Yeah.
And it's astounding that they were able to do that.
It's very true.
It also has the greatest Vader scene of all time. So
very true.
That's number 1 for me. No, very true. Very true. I like it. And yeah, everybody's different, man. I love that everybody.
No. We all have to have the same judgment.
Well, I'd said everybody's different. Not that you're right. But no, it's cool because we all sit here and talk shit into the group chat for the patrons. But everyone's very different and loves Star Wars for a very different reason and grew up on different shit and experienced it in their own way at their different times and different ages. It's really just the grand appeal of Star Wars and the Rogue Squadron podcast. So,
the grand appeal.
Damn dick. No, very, very. So, what are we wrapping up here?
I got no shoes on.
Neither do I.
Neither do I, actually.
See, we're all the same.
Shoeless assholes. I don't even have socks on.
Neither do I.
I do.
Oh, you ruined it.
Damn it, Weiss.
Can't help it.
Still lied. Okay, awesome. I'm there's so much solo stuff and we could dig more into it.
I was gonna say we could basically do an entire review again next episode after we both see it again because there's a lot I'm sure that I missed.
I'll send you that list of all the stuff that's in the back of Dryden's like little room.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cuts in there.
I did see the Mando armor. Yeah,
there's Mando armor. There's the crystal skull thing from Spectre. What is it? Splinter in the Mind's Eye or whatever.
What? Whoa, there was Mando armor and Dryden's.
Yeah. Yep.
I did not notice that.
Yep.
There's like the Nagri little like slicer things from the Thrawn trilogy. There's so much stuff back there. There's like a fake obsidian holocron, but it's like super big. That's like supposed to look like a holocron. There's like little Sith things. There's crazy stuff back there.
That's some Guardians of the Galaxy shit. Like that dude that just keeps all the
the collector. I missed that like most of the dialogue in those scenes because I was just looking in the background the whole time.
You know, I went in with literally just a blank slate. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't looking deep and I wasn't listening to anything. I was just trying to enjoy a movie.
Yep.
And I think that's the way you have to go into this film.
I agree.
Because if you're looking for stuff, well, I don't know. You're always going to be let down because not everything's going to fucking happen. So this was just easy to watch. I think it's the easiest Star Wars film to watch. You didn't really have to follow along. You loved it. The characters, smoke shows and stuff. Everything.
It's fun. I think just fun. That's what it was.
Guaranteed.
Agree completely. Wrapping up, I had Galaxy Pale Ale. That was not planned at all. Glorious. I gave it a 2 out of 3. Mediocre. Easy to drink, but good.
Also a 2 for the Hazy Jane from Brewdog.
And
Too fruity.
3 for my Acoustic Ales India Pale Lager.
IPL. Those are always interesting. I like them. All right, guys. Well, I got some hop nuts. I didn't mention this. I got some peanuts that are hoppy flavored. That's what I want to end on, guys. Is these nuts. Holy shit.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I do want to, last but not least, mention the Patreon call or Patreon members. If you guys are big fans of the show, like Mr. Weiss is.
Ooh.
Yes. You guys can head on over to patreon.com and look us up, the Rogue Squadron Podcast or Rogue Squad Pod, to support the show.
Oh, yeah.
And as we do, and we skipped it this week, but we do pretty much every week a Patreon call.
Yeah.
And you guys can be a part of that.
For sure.
And we have mentioned the group chat that the patrons are all a part of. It's belligerent. It's fucking perfect. It's everything. If you're a fan of the show, it's what you need in your daily life.
So if you want the knowledge that Weiss has to hand down to you, that's where you're going to get it.
Or if you need to call Mopar out on half the shit he says, you can do that in the group chat. You pay, but there are different tiers. I do want to mention, I realize we have forgotten the giveaway stuff for May. So we will knock that out next episode. This has just been an extra long episode with the solo stuff. So we'll do that drawing next episode.
Oh yeah.
If you guys haven't read this,
do it.
This series is so good.
The Darth Vader comic series. You got to refer. Not everybody's watching this.
The Soul, Cameron Coley and Smith Darth Vader series, the newer one by Marvel Comics.
By Marvel.
It's got some badass Vader in it.
Nothing's gonna beat episode Rogue One.
Episode Rogue.
Holy shit! Thank you guys for tuning in. Jacob Weiss.
Much appreciated.
Bye, guys.
All right, we're ending on that shit. Awesome, man. That was one of the longest episodes we've had in a long time. Sorry to take up your parlor for 3 hours.
You're welcome.
You lost a lot of business.
Lost a lot of business. The business that you had left, clearly, especially when you put goddamn episode 4 so high.
Who, me?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's childhood chicken pox for me right there.
That's hilarious. You should have
4 straight days just looped on VHS.
And that's how bad it was. You had to have chicken pox and be bedridden to watch.
Just to watch through the whole thing.